This is Dr. Jansen, and today we are going to work on multiplying fractions. So let's get started. All right, so first let's look at problem number 1. Here we have 2/5 times 3/4. Now multiplying fractions is actually just as easy as multiplying right across. That's all we're going to do for both of these. We're literally just going to multiply across and simplify, and that's it. The one thing that we're going to do before we do that is we're actually going to check our diagonals. We're going to check this way and we're going to check this way and see if we can simplify. It just makes simplifying so much easier if we can simplify diagonally, either one of those ways, before we get to our final answer. If you don't do that and you simplify in your final answer, you can simplify that way too. Either way works. I just think this way is a lot easier if we simplify our diagonals before we get to our final answer. So we're going to do that way. So let's check out 2 and 4 here. So what we're going to ask ourselves is, okay, can we simplify 2 and 4? And we can. So we look at 2 and 4 and we see that both of those are divisible by 2. So we can divide 2 by 2 and get 1. And we can divide 4 by that same number 2 and get 2. And as soon as we do that, we need to rewrite our problem. So we need to rewrite this as 1/5 times 3 over 2. We have to do that to make sure we don't get confused at all here. And so now we're going to check our diagonals again. I always like to just redouble check. Okay, can I simplify 1 and 2 anymore? No, I can't simplify that anymore. 3 and 5, check this diagonal. Can I simplify that at all? Is there a number 3 and 5 are both divisible by that I can simplify that by? Nope. So I'm done. So now I'm going to do exactly what I said before. I'm literally just going to multiply 1 and 3 and 5 and 2 straight across like that. So 1 times 3 is 3. 5 times 2 is 10. And I get my answer of 3/10. And now, again, I'm going to ask myself, always asking myself, guys, here in math, can I simplify? Is my answer in simplest form? So I go, okay, 3/10 is this in simplest form? Can I simplify that at all? If you're ever not sure, if you're like, oh, I'm not great at simplifying, punch out your calculator. See if it simplifies at all. We see that 3/10 does not simplify any more than that. So 3/10 is in simplest form, and that is our final answer for that problem. All right, so let's move on to problem number 2. We have 4/10 times 1 and 2/3. So the problem here is that, okay, Dr. Jansen, you said let's just multiply straight across, but I can't do that. I have this big number 1 in the way here. I can't just multiply straight across. That is correct. We have to change this mixed number into an improper fraction first before we multiply straight across. That is our first thing that we have to do in a problem like this when we're multiplying fractions. The good news is it's really easy to do. So when we see a mixed number, we need to turn it into an improper fraction. The way that we do that is we always move in a circle around just like this, clockwise. And we're going to multiply the bottom number times the big number. So 3 times 1, moving in this direction. And then we take whatever number we get as a result of this, and we're going to add that top number to it. So in this case, we're going to do 3 times 1, which is 3, and add 2. So 3 times 1, 3 plus 2, which gives us 5. I'm just going to rewrite that down here. And then we put that all over whatever our old denominator was, which was 3. So 3 times 1, again, gave us 3. We just add whatever that top number was, which was 2. So 3 times 1 plus 2 gave us 5. And we just put it all over our old denominator. So that's how we convert a mixed number into an improper fraction. And again, we have to do that first before we can multiply across. So now I'm just bringing down my 4/10, bringing down my multiply sign. Here it's a dot. In my other problem, it was an X. Both of these mean to multiply. So it doesn't matter which symbol you see or you use. So now we're going to multiply across just like we did before. But remember, we have to check our diagonals so to see if we can simplify. So we look at 4 and 3. those cannot be simplified. There's not a number I can divide 4 and 3 by there to simplify. So now I'm going to check 5 and 10. There is a number here I can divide 5 and 10 by to simplify and make my life a whole lot easier. So I can divide 5 by 5 and get 1. And then I can also divide 10 by 5 and get 2. Remember, whenever we do this, it always has to be by the same number. That's the whole point, okay? So I'm dividing 10 and 5 both by 5. I have to be dividing these diagonals by the exact same number. Over here in problem 1, or both by 2. I'm dividing these diagonals by the exact same number. I just want to make that abundantly clear. So now it's going to be so much easier when I multiply across, okay? We're going to rewrite first. So 4 over 2 times 1 over 3. Again, I got those new numbers because I simplified. And so now I can just multiply across. Super easy, because that's all we do when we multiply fractions. We're just multiplying across. That's all we're doing. And 4 times 1 is 4. 2 times 3 is 6. And again, it's super easy to go, oh, 4, 6, that's my final answer. I'm done. Sweet, over, crushed it. But I always have to ask myself, is it in simplest form? Is it in simplest form? Is there a number that I could divide 4 by and 6 by to reduce this fraction? And the answer is yes. 4 and 6 are both divisible by 2. So I'm going to rewrite 4, 6 right here. I can still divide both of these by 2. If I do it to the top, I have to do it to the bottom. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. And I get simplest form is 2/3. Again, if you're not great about that, calculators are awesome. You plug that in your calculator just to double check and see if it simplifies. But we always have to check if our answer is in simplest form, our fractions. And that is how we know that we have reached our final answer when our fraction is in simplest form, and then you solved it. So great job.